Live better and longer with the Fitzness Show, hosted by fitness expert, author, and TV personality Fitz Koehler. She'll tell you why diets are dumb, supplements are snake oil, and the truth about how you can earn a lean, hard, pain-free, and athletic body. Now for our favorite bossy blonde, Fitz Koehler.
Well, hi team, I'm Fitz Koehler, your incredibly bossy fitness pro from fitzness.com, and welcome to the Fitzness Show. Today, you have brought so many Q's, and I have so many A's. That's right, it's Q&A day, along with some ramblings from a madwoman who travels the country and has all sorts of interesting things to share. Before I get into my Q's, also, let me tell you, the Q's are good. They based on condescending runners. That one was an interesting question. Nautilus training machines, whether they're as good as free weights, dietary trends. Oh, some personal questions about chemo. And let's see, I don't know. Oh, staying energized without rest. So we've got good cues for you. Just hang in there. We're going to get to them. Before we do, if you haven't done so yet, click subscribe wherever you listen to the Fitzness Show. If you haven't already done so yet, click download. That makes them just available in your phone all the time. It doesn't eat up all your phone space. Just makes me and all the wonderful things I have to share available in your phone. Also, listen to this. Last show, I was telling you, I think I'm close to 300 episodes of the Fitzness Show. This is how much I'm paying attention. I am just rambling on and talking without counting because apparently I'm almost at 400 episodes. So I was off by 100. I was off by a third of my efforts. So whatevs. That's how I roll. Perfect's boring. But apparently I've done way more than I thought I did. So almost at 400 episodes. Whoop-de-doo. Perhaps we'll do something special. Hopefully every episode is special, right? Hopefully I get to fill your mind with so much important content that your life gets better incrementally every single time you listen to this show. But click download on it, and then you'll have me stashed whenever you need me, even if you have no Wi-Fi and no cell reception. Also, my books are still available, and so we've been plugging You Supercharged because that's the everybody book. If you are a grown-up and you would like to live better and longer, get firmer and leaner and more athletic and have more energy and better sleep, You Supercharged, the exact formula for fitness, weight loss, and longevity. That's available at fitzness.com. If you use discount code LOVE, you get free shipping. But also, I have the Healthy Cancer Comeback series. And if you know a cancer patient, if you love someone with cancer, they make great gifts. And it's interesting. Those books sell all the time. And I get all of these messages by people saying, hey, my cousin has brain cancer, or my dad has prostate cancer, or my bestie has breast cancer, whatever it is. And they order the book, and I personalize them before I ship them out to each person. And then I start getting the feedback, and it's pretty magical. My cousin bought me your book, and I was feeling pretty shabby. And now I have more energy. I'm sleeping better. It's nice to do something like that. When you have someone who's sick and you think, gosh, I wish I could help. Well, you can. I've created a tool for them to help themselves. But if they don't know it exists and you haven't put it in their hands, maybe they're just going to be more sick than they need to be, and they'll suffer more. And blah, blah, blah down the road of cancer. So please just at least make sure they're aware, because I'm desperate to help cancer patients. That's why I wrote them. I just, after going through it and being obliterated by my treatment, I at least had the great gift of being a fitness pro and having all the knowledge and the know-how to be able to get back to normalcy and vibrancy and so forth. And it just breaks my heart that there's so many people of all ages, of all genders or both genders who have all different types of cancer and have no idea how to get back on track. That makes me very sad. So if you can help me help them, that would be great. All right, moving on. I've had a wild weekend. That's right. If you're paying attention, I went to Flint, Michigan this weekend. Hey, I'm going to give a high five to all the people in Flint. They're very lovely people. I do wonder sometimes why I'm not hired to speak or announce in Fiji, but great people show up in Flint, so that's where I go. I was announcing Mud Girl, which is a blast. And, poor Flint. Poor Flint. Flint has been beaten up. General Motors used to have a big influence in that community. when they pulled out, cut their workforce in the 80s, the industry tanked and people moved away and businesses were left abandoned and dilapidated. And, people who had great jobs had no jobs. And so that town has taken a beating. And then, of course, there was the water debacle quite a few years ago. But they're Americans. So, of course, we want to be a part of that. So I get off the plane in Detroit and I have a little time on Friday. I land early. I've got nothing but dinner plans. So I stopped by a mall. I'll tell you about that after. But then I was headed to, I mostly stay at Marriott's. And I was headed to my Marriott in Flint. And I had an address that was mailed to me by Marriott. And I'm driving by all of these broken down old businesses who are no longer there, thinking, oh, that's sad. And then I pull in down this road. Now, usually, if you're pulling up to a Marriott, there's a big old sign that says, here's your Marriott, and it's great. Come sleep here. Same with Hilton and Hyatt. They've all got the big signs letting you know. I'm getting closer and closer to this address. Mind you, I'm in my rental car, and I pull down the road. It tells me to pull down. I happen to have my best friend, Christy, on the phone, and I pull in, and it looks like I have stumbled into the TV show The Walking Dead. I kid you not. It was just the woods. It was a dead-end road, and there was a series of burned down buildings. I mean, they were half standing and dilapidated, and I was certain there was a zombie about to creep out around the corner. And so I parked the car, and then I took Christy off of regular phone. I put her on FaceTime just to show her where I was. And she shouted, "Get out of there! Go away." So I did. I pulled out. I called the Marriott. I was so grateful when an actual receptionist answered, and there was a real person at a real hotel that were somewhere different than where I was. And so she gave me a new address. I got there. It was actually a brand new Marriott. It was only 2 weeks old, and it was quite lovely. But yeah, I have these little misadventures wherever I go. It could be a flight delay, could be a storm. There's always something. Last week I had the fob die in Philadelphia. I mean, there's just always something. And one of the great gifts of being a traveler is, even against my own wishes, it makes you so independent. It makes you so capable. It makes you a MacGyver of your own life, because you're just going to get hit with freaking something every time. I don't think it's ever just going to go smoothly and perfectly. My first time traveling big time, well, when I was a freshman in college, there was this guy, Matt, who he was a cute boy. I knew from, I don't know, I guess knew him here, but he moved to Chicago and he invited me to go see him. And so I flew alone. I bought my ticket, and then I drove to Orlando, and I got in the airport, and I was 18, but boy, did I feel like a very grown up. You know what I'm saying? Marching through Orlando airport, I felt like a very big deal. And so getting there and getting home and parking the car and doing all this stuff was just, I don't know, it made me better. And then soon after that, I was hired to go be a fitness director on a cruise ship in Europe. And that experience, and I took off alone. Of course, I was surrounded by a crew and other passengers and so forth, but it really did increase my independence and confidence exponentially. It's funny, my children travel for work now, and Ginger talks about living somewhere else, and it breaks my heart. I love her. She's in the house right now, and it makes me so happy. But also, I know that whenever she goes, it will make her better. And so I don't stand in her way, even though I want to stand in her way. And I just want to see, stay, live with me forever. You most wonderful person who makes me so happy. But yeah, travel, I think, makes you a better person if you're willing to be bettered by it. If you're going to get there and just, I had to drive, and I had to park, and oh my gosh, this flight, and I'm not sitting in first class, and this sucks. And if you're just going to be miserable, you're going to be miserable. Fine. Maybe you're going to be worse. You're going to be even more of a sourpuss, grouch. However, if you have a good attitude about it and you're willing to take the hits as they come and be flexible and light on your feet and stick and move, you know what I'm saying? Then travel makes you better. Even when you pull down a dead end road with burned down buildings and you're alone and you just got to figure it out. And so I figured it out and it was great. It was great. And the event in Flint was so wonderful. I mean, it just, I'm happy that a town that is beat up has wonderful things still coming. And the fact that Mud Girl goes there is a very big deal. We had, I don't know, close to 10,000 athletes show up, and that's got to be good for the economy and the morale and the health and all of those things. Okay, so one of my hotties, my runners, my listeners, Kenny Renner, and I got to meet for dinner. It's the first time I've ever done anything with Kenny, and what a wonderful man. He traveled all the way from Ohio, like 2.5 hour drive, just to come see me and to volunteer at Mud Girl, which just shows you what a quality human. It was super flattering that anyone's willing to make any sort of effort to come visit me. But yeah, he wasn't going to run the race, so I said, "You want to volunteer?" And he did, and he volunteered all day. But this is who he is. He started off, he was a golf course manager or in golf management, which I love other sports people. I always feel like I have this stuff in common with other sports folks. And then he has 2 daughters. They're competitive bowlers. They won state championships and so forth when they were kids, which is pretty cool. He drives a Jeep. Love that. And then here's the big one that tells you who this guy is. His mother was diagnosed with ALS and she passed away in hospice. And can you imagine how difficult that whole situation was? And so he fell in love with hospice and went back to school, became a nurse, a hospice nurse for 10 years. And so just a good guy. Holy mackerel. We had a great conversation. We had a really fun dinner, which I loved. And then he showed me his Jeep. He has a really, really pretty Wrangler, and I drive a Wrangler. And he told me, he goes, "Well, mine's really old. It's a 2010. Then I got you beat, buddy. Mine's a 2008. But yeah, Jeep people, we kind of get along, right? Anyways, he volunteered for, I think it was 8, 9, 10 hours on Saturday at Mud Girl, which was very appreciated. And I got him, or I asked him, let's make sure you're a start line volunteer so you could be with me all day. Oh, and he just brought great energy, so much enthusiasm, and he got the vibe of the way I work, and he was contributing in a stellar way. So yeah, thank you, Kenny. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for coming to see me. Thanks for pitching in on Mud Girl. I know you had just as much fun as I had watching you participate, and you made my life easier. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Also, hottie Kelly Prevette came out to Flint. She's run Mud Girl quite a few times when I've announced. In fact, Kelly's come to many of my events, and Kelly's lost a ton of weight using the exact formula for weight loss. So if you don't believe it actually works, it does. It does. I bragged about a bunch of folks last week. In fact, if you are an exact formula success story, please message me so I can brag about you, because I like to get it right. And of course, I like to be thorough. I want everyone to have some of their success shared so you inspire the rest. But Kelly came and she brought 2 of her coworkers from Target, Ava and Brie, who are like 18 and 19, super cute cuties. They have never run any sort of race at all. So she brought them along and they were just delightful. And they had custom shirts that said "Filthy Fitzness Friends" on it, which of course thrills me to death. How wonderful. They took my brand, made it a part of their wardrobe, a part of their persona for the day, and it made me very proud. So thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Ava and Brie and Kenny. Oh, and I made Kelly the dance leader, and she's big energy. All the Mud Girls loved her. They loved Dave and Brie too. So it was a good time. And this is Flint was interesting. So the DJ, Lurk, and I, we work very close together. And we have a bunch of kind of shticks, kind of things that work to whip these Mud Girls into a frenzy. There are certain songs he can play. There are certain activities or things I can say that really just hype people up and make them wild. They don't always work, but 98% of the time they do. Flint was not falling for some of our nonsense at the start. So Lurk and I were looking at each other thinking, how are we going to get through to these ladies? And then eventually we did. But you just have to use a little creativity, right? What works for one or even what works for most may not work for all. And, they were worth working harder for. It wasn't as easy because I expect a certain level of fun. I expect a certain level of energy. And if it's not there, could I be like, fine, these folks are boring, I'm going away? No, that's not their fault. That's my job. My job is to figure out what turns them on, and we were able to do it. But we had to work a little harder on Flint. There was a good 40 minutes in the morning where he and I were looking at each other, scratching our head, and then we figured out who they were, and it was awesome. It was such a great time. Golly, how lucky am I? So great day in Flint. I worked from 7:30 to about 3, and then I had to haul ass from there, go straight from the event to, fill up my car with gas, change my clothes real quick in the gas station and get to the airport. I made it to my flight by the skin of my teeth. It was that close, but whatever. It was worth it, worth the hustle. And instead of going straight home to Gainesville, I chose to go to Fort Lauderdale this weekend after Detroit, to visit my mommy. That's right. My mommy was due for a little visit. And yeah, I got on my flight. I was bumped to first, which was awesome. They had a wonderful vegetarian meal for there. It was stuffed shells or ravioli or something like that. Anyways, it hit the spot for your very hungry announcer, and I appreciated that. And then went to my brother's bar. It's called the Fitz Bar and Lounge in Fort Lauderdale. If you're ever in that area, you have to go. It's beautiful and it's fun and it's casual, yet you can dress cute. They have a DJ or a live performer all the time, and it's sports, sports, sports. So it was Columbia versus, who was Columbia playing? It's funny when you're around one fan base, it almost doesn't even matter who the others were. But yeah, Columbia was playing and some others. And I don't know, we had a great time. There were so many World Cup fans in his bar. I mean, South Florida was coated with them because they were hosting the Columbia versus whoever match. And they were just delighted. They were delighted to be there. And I sat next to this guy, Alfonso, at the bar. My brother walked away, and I was chatting with Alfonso from New York. And his family is Colombian. And I think he actually lived in Colombia for a little bit. So he was wearing the Colombia jersey. I got to know him, and this is what you want to hear. He said, "No, I'm American. Team USA is number 1 for me." He said, "Colombia is number 2. I'm having fun celebrating them, but I'm American." And you want to hear that. If you're here and you're a citizen, it's great to have enthusiasm. To me, I think it's great to have enthusiasm for where your old dead people came from. Like most of my old dead people are from Ireland or Scotland, and what really fun cultures. They've got kilts and bagpipes and beer and castles and all sorts of awesome things. And if I want to go have beer and wear a kilt, fine, and dance a jig, great. But there will never be a second place to being an American. There's nothing. It's USA. This is who I am. I am full-blown American. And then I can also go dance a jig on St. Patrick's Day, right? But I loved getting that from him and his family. They are immigrants, or he's not an immigrant, but his family were immigrants, and they had their priorities straight. And I love that. He doesn't say I'm a Colombian American. He's just, I'm a freaking American. Team USA all day, but also hooray for Colombia. And I dug that. In fact, I'm still enjoying the crap out of World Cup. And I'm so sad the Orange Army, all the Netherlands, I'm sad they lost because, they were fun to have around, but the Norwegians are still here. And gosh, I mean, it's great. It's great to see all the hoopla and the energy. And it kills me that they all love ranch dressing. I did not know that ranch dressing was not a thing anywhere else. And the fact that everyone's here and they're taking home gallons of ranch dressing from, whether they're from Japan or South America or Europe or Africa, they all love ranch dressing. So as a fitness pro, I don't know if I'm super excited about that. That could be the death of those other folks, but maybe if they learn to enjoy ranch in moderation, and I certainly do. I don't have a lot of ranch, but on occasion, a little ranch with my carrots, right? But yeah, it's so great. And then America beat Bosnia and Herzegovina. I still don't know why those countries are pairing up to make one team, but it was awesome to watch us win last night, even though we got a lame red card. If you were watching, you know what I'm talking about. Red cards should be given for deliberate or reckless behavior. And yeah, that red card was crap. You know what I'm saying? I just wasn't falling for it. I didn't believe in it. And the fact that one of our best players is down makes me feel like that ref might be a little corrupt. I don't know. I don't know. It's what think people should go check his bank account to see if there's any ginormous transfers coming through in the near future, or maybe, I don't know, check the mattress under his bed. But yeah, that red card was crap. And I still believe that we will win. USA, USA. Also, this is a nice thing about Mud Girl is I talk about all the things. I talk to the athletes based on who they are and what they present to me or what they're wearing. And we had so many people in patriotic outfits in Flint. And so the crowd's literally bursting into, I'd start talking about Happy Birthday America, and they'd all start chanting USA, USA. And of course, that just makes my heart burst. Pow. I love being American. Golly, don't you? And if not, man, pay attention. We're not perfect, but we're spectacular. We're as close to it as any country's ever going to come. So it's great. And this weekend is 4th of July. Can you believe 250 years of independence and these all the sacrifice and all the service and all the ingenuity. And if you read the Constitution, you think, oh my gosh, how did they come up with this stuff? I mean, it was just so freaking good. And brilliant men who had been through hard times in other places knew what they didn't want, right? But it's just so clever. And golly, am I grateful for it. Maybe ask ChatGPT this weekend to run a synopsis of the Constitution. Maybe you haven't read it or it's been a long time. It's just really, feels so good to be reminded of who we are and what was just, I can't believe we're so fortunate that the forefathers did what they did, and some of the foremothers, right? There were some good chicks along the way, but wow, that Constitution, the Bill of Rights, just hit it out of the park. It's the best of the best of the best. Sorry for bending your ears, but I get excited. I am excited. Okay, and I'm going to tell you about my boots, and then I'm going to move on, and we're going to talk about your Q&A. I went to a fancy mall in Detroit, or near Detroit. I don't know what town I was in, but trust me, it was a fancy mall near Detroit, between Detroit and Flint. And I went in to just kind of like move my body, roam around, and I didn't have anything else to do. And I was wearing my Ariat boots, brown boots. I've had them for 20 years, maybe more. They're beautiful. They're comfortable. They're the kind of boots I can wear all over the place. Sometimes if they're new boots, they might pinch, but these don't pinch. They just feel like heaven. They feel like home. So I'm walking around there, and there's a Tacova store, and Tacova is also a really nice branded boot. So I walk in there. Oh, Lord. I walk in and I spotted the Lorettas. The Lorettas are these knee-high black boots. And they have a very simple design on them, but boy, was I excited about the Lorettas. And so I said, can I try them on? They were $450, which would make them the most expensive pair of boots I own. But yeah, I got to try them on. And just, you know what? Even if you don't wear boots, you don't feel like it's your style, just go in there and put your face in a boot. The smell of the boots alone are exquisite. Just this feels so good, right? It's just that leather. So anyways, put my nose, my whole face in these boots. And they said, can we bring you a Diet Coke? And I thought, hell yeah, cowboy boots and a Diet Coke, score. But I put them on and they were beautiful. But thank God my heels were slipping out. So I did not buy them, but they were very pretty. And now they make me want to go back and buy. There's these Ariat boots that have these cutout stars. If anyone wants to send a size 8 of those cutout star boots in color white, perhaps, do it. So I walked out of Tacova and thankfully kept keeping $500 in my pocket, but they were pretty. And it's nice to try it on. And then I came home and my luggage, I'm not sure what happened. So I have a puppy. He's 8 months old, 10 months old, something like that. Anyways, he likes to eat my shoes. Nobody else's shoes, just mine. Just mine. He's eaten one of my daughter's sandals, but he's out for mine. So I purposely take my boots and I store them on the top of my closet, and I keep the closet door shut so he cannot have them because the boots are precious to me. But these brown Ariat boots I've been telling you about how much I love, he got them. And I walked out of my office the other day and he had something brown in his mouth. And I thought, please God. But it was, he chewed one of the pull tags off. So what I'm going to do is I'm contacting Ariat and I'm going to plead my case. And maybe they can send me a pull tag. I'll give them $100 for it. I don't care. Or I can send my boot and they can repair it. But I'm really hopeful because they're still in spectacular shape. But anyways, this is nonsense this is why you listen to the podcast? I don't think so, but there's boot drama. So stay tuned. Hopefully, I will have a wonderful, wonderful bit of information that Ariat had mercy on me and they saved me and my boots, at least got them close to whole. And then the other thing is my mom. It was great to see her. She's not doing so great right now, but it was wonderful to see your mommy. If your mommy is still around, please give your mommy a call or go by and give her a hug because I appreciate all the hugs I can get from her. I know. And we will be right back. My brand new book, You Supercharge, the exact formula for fitness, weight loss, and longevity, is out right now and has something for everybody. Ladies, chapter Full Throttle Femininity is dedicated to all the things you think you can't control, including menopause, weight loss, maintaining muscle mass, building bone density, and earning yourself a JJ of steel. Guys, chapter Man Mode was written just for you. You'll learn how to combat menopause, tune up your ticker, banish a beer belly for good, maximize your muscles, and earn the most powerful pecker on the planet. From the ground on up, from the inside and out, let's supercharge your body and mind and make you unstoppable. Order signed copies of You Supercharged at fitzness.com in the United States, Amazon, everywhere else. We're back. Okay, let's go on to your questions. They're good. And I'm kicking it off with, actually, she told me not to mention who it's from, but this is a message I get. Hey, I might have a topic for your show. She says, so in races, I always encourage people around me. Like if they're ahead of me and they seem to be struggling or I catch up to them, I say, you're doing great or keep it up or you are so strong. You got this. I'll offer gels or salt tabs. But I recently saw someone make a post that this happened to them in a race, as she wasn't even at that race. And she said, and they felt like it was condescending or insulting that someone would do this. I'm curious what others think. I do not do this condescendingly, but in true nature, caring for my fellow athlete. And I'm just a Southern girl that is used to hospitality, but the rest of the community is different. I don't know. I mean, folks, you message me. Let me know what you think. You can use my Instagram account or fitzness.com to tell me what you think. This is what I think is even though running is an individual sport, it's also a team effort, right? And so I try to foster the team community at a start line. I look at 10, 20,000 people, however many we have. I try to make them feel like they're a team, right? Of course you can come alone. Of course you can race alone. Of course you can go the whole way without speaking to anyone, but also you're surrounded by people who generically and genuinely care about each other, right? We're not alone out there. And if you wanted to be alone, you would just go run alone. I mean, let's say a marathon, 5K, doesn't matter. You can go run any freaking distance you want outside your door. Just go do it alone. Go do it on a treadmill. Go do it on a track. Go do it on a sidewalk. You could go be alone. So when you show up on race day, you're part of the community. Clearly, you're trying to be a part of the community. I don't think you're just like, I need to get a medal. What grown-up really needs a medal in their life? What is that medal going to do for you? How much money are you going to earn? Unless you're a very small percentage of people, even amongst the elite runners, you're earning no money. So you're out there to be a part of us, and we're nice, right? If someone ran by that complainant and said, you're slow, suck it up, she would be bitching about someone being mean, right? She'd be going, oh my God, I can't believe someone was so rude. All right, well, someone comes by and says, keep it up, hang in there. That's really kind. And I've been guilty of saying those things too, or, befriending. I've befriended many people on the road. In fact, many of you listeners I've met in the middle of a race, not just as an announcer, but I've met you as a runner out somewhere. I remember being somewhere and my knee was killing me and my knee brace was killing me. And I met Warren Ward, who had just had a heart attack and heart surgery a few months prior. And we ran a couple of miles together and commiserated. And he's still one of my favorite runners. So yeah, I think this person is an attention seeker, and they are probably the same person that gets on social media and says, pray for me, I sprained my ankle, or the type of person who gets up on the computer and says, my dad died 20 years ago, and Dad, I love you up in heaven. Listen, lady, your dad is not reading your Facebook page. The only way you put that out there is so people will pity you, right? So I don't know. This person making the complaint is probably just a freaking complainer, because the rest of us out on the road, when someone says something nice to us, we say, thank you. And then we use that to motivate ourselves to keep going, right? We need each other out there. And maybe we want, we enjoy, we benefit from each other. So that person can take a flying leap. That's right. I am not down with that complaining, whiny person who just wanted to bitch, just wanted to moan, just wanted to cause some hostility on the internet. So thank you for bringing that question to my attention. And I think you should unfriend that person and be like, you know what? I don't need your kind in my life. And then for the rest of you, keep being nice. Don't be bossy out there, but wow, I love your shoes. Your outfit's cute. You're doing great. Keep going. Keep going. Don't ever hold back on kindness. Don't ever hold back on kindness. If somebody's going to take your kindness as an insult, who cares? Who cares? That's not the person we're trying to impress. We don't care about that person. I don't know one professional athlete in the world who wouldn't appreciate an attaboy or an attagirl. We work hard to go the distance, to score a basket, to run a touchdown, or whatever we're doing. The attaboys and the attagirls are part of the expectation of athletic performance. So again, that person, the more I think about that person, the angrier I get. So yeah, y'all just go keep being nice. Keep being nice. If somebody thinks it's condescending, too freaking bad. You know what? What drives me mad is when people don't give me the benefit of the doubt. That's very few things make me madder. I mean, of course, mess with my children. I will go there. I will go to the mattresses, right? But when someone close to me doubts my intentions, I'm not too big to say, I'm sorry. I apologize. I was wrong. I can do better. I can learn. I'd like to. Let me make it up to you. And I'm not perfect. Sometimes I do the wrong thing and whoopsie daisy. I'll try to make it better. But if you think I was trying to do the wrong thing, if you think I woke up trying to make your day miserable or difficult or hurt you, now we have a problem. Now we got a problem. So yeah, that person needs a good spanking. That's what I'm thinking. That person needs a good spanking. Thank you so much for this question. Got me fired up. All right. Next question from the one and only Michael freaking Jones. Love Michael Jones. He is such a superstar in so many ways. And yeah, he lost 90 something pounds using the exact formula for weight loss. And when he added strength training, he became such a physical dynamo. The man, he needed to be a better business person, a better spouse, a better everything. And now he has Parkinson's. And thank God he accomplished all that stuff in fitness, because now he's been eligible and successful with special treatments where they would have denied him if he were unfit. If he were the Michael of 10 years ago or 12 years ago, whenever before we met, he wouldn't have been eligible for the wonderful treatments he's received recently. If you want to know more, I have an episode dedicated to Michael Jones and his success. So go listen to that. But his question is, can you get muscle definition and tone from Nautilus machines as much as you can with free weights? Absolutely. Yeah, strength training is just about overloading the muscle, challenging it in the directions it goes. So your biceps, for example, they extend your arm, they bend your arm. If you're doing an arm extension and bending with a free weight, great. With a kettlebell, great. With a band, great. With a Nautilus machine, great. It doesn't matter. The only difference I would say, or one of the main differences between free weights and Nautilus style machines, is Nautilus style machines will control your motion. It's going to go from point A to point B in the exact direction. You might be able to adjust your seat or adjust the handles or whatever on a Nautilus type machine, but they guide you from point A to point B every single time. With dumbbell, you don't have that control. You have to use your accessory muscles. Those are at the joint and they control the wobble, right? So you don't ever have to worry about a wobble on a Nautilus style machine. You're worrying about a wobble when you're holding a free weight or a band or a kettlebell or a cable. So that's the difference. I prefer free weights and kettlebells and things that allow me to go through greater ranges of motion than Nautilus style machine. But can you build muscle using Nautilus? Absolutely. I also use some of those style machines. They're different brands than Nautilus, but I think we all know what he's saying. The difference between being defined and not being defined is you also shedding the fat. And so packing on muscle, shedding fat, even I say packing on muscle. Look at my arms. If you're watching, they're defined, but they're not big, right? So women, you don't have to worry about bulking to be defined. You just have to have muscle that bulges, and then little to no fat over it. Not no fat, but little fat covering it. So yeah, you can have curvy, strong, defined muscles if you're just using those machines. Absolutely. I encourage you to diversify. We always say that the worst piece of the worst piece of fitness equipment in the gym is one you're not using. So use them all, constantly challenge your body in different ways, different tools, different directions, different loads. You can load a really heavy, do reps of 6 that make you want to throw up, or reps of 10, 3 sets of 10, right? So mix it up. Variety is the spice of life. But yes, absolutely. Nautilus machines, if you only did that and you watch what you put in your mouth and work really hard and really intelligently with those pieces of equipment every other day, you could have the body of your dreams. Absolutely. Okay. Yassine Gounet, also a superstar on the Hottie Body Fitness Challenge page. He was saying that his brother was complaining that the sun rises at 5 a.m. in New York. And which do I prefer? I prefer daylight savings. I prefer daylight savings where we push the clock forward. And so we get a little darker in the morning, but then we have a little more light at the end of the day. I think as a woman, especially, I have a few more hours of outdoor safety and for exercise and sports and shopping and whatever else I want to do. I prefer daylight savings time when it gets dark earlier in the evening in the winter. I don't know. It's just too short of a day, right? Because I'm not going to wake up at 4 a.m. to go enjoy the early sunrise. I'm just not going to do it. I don't want to do it. I know many of you do. I once asked what time y'all wake up. I was shocked that so many of you get up at 3:30 or 4 a.m. Wow. Very impressive. Very disciplined. My goodness. And I love that so many of you exercise first thing in the morning. But if you're asking my preference, I like to have a longer day. At the end of the day, I feel like there's a little more safety and opportunity there. But that's an interesting question. All right. Dave Kuntz. I'm not going to go into his question, but he wants me to talk about GLP-1s and dietary trends and so forth. And I'm going to do that. I'm going to dedicate a whole show to that. That's on the agenda, Dave. It's one of those things where I've been traveling so much and my head gets in a little fog. I want to be a little more thoughtful about that show in its entirety before I get there. But that's coming very soon, very soon. All right, next questions from Noah. Noah, I don't know, but I love that he submitted the question. It's a sweet one. He said, during chemotherapy, what belief about toughness did you have to completely unlearn? Yeah, so it's interesting. There's a lot of words that go along with cancer. And the warrior, you're a warrior. You're a badass. I don't know. I never felt that way. I don't, people have bought me warrior shirts. I won't wear them. I don't identify as that. I also don't like that cancer made me feel like a victim. I don't want anything. This is why I don't wear ribbons. And if you didn't know that, I do not wear ribbons. They make me feel like a victim. I don't want to be identified as the girl who had cancer. I mean, I did have cancer and I wrote the books and I'm happy to help. But when I wrote the books, they almost take me out of it as a patient. They take me as a helper, so I come back at it as a different angle, but unlearning things. The amount of time I was told, you were the bravest person I know. And I think, really? I'm the bravest person you know? Is that true? That's fascinating. Wow. I didn't know that up until now. So what did I have to unlearn about toughness is, with cancer, there's a lot of fear. I was scared to death. I was scared of death. I was scared to death of death. And I was not only afraid of losing my life, I really was devastated by the thought of losing my children's life, right? It was Ginger and Parker. I could not get past the fact that I might not see them graduate high school or college or have a job or have a love of their life or have a baby or any of those things. I want to be around for as many of their days as possible. So I was scared. And then eventually I was scared of losing my hair and being sick and all those things that of the unknown, right? But toughness sometimes is perceived as just doing what you have to do. I mean, I didn't have a choice. I had a vigorous cycle of chemotherapy. I had 21 rounds every 3 weeks over 15 months. Scary as hell. If somebody told you you were going to be poisoned every 3 weeks for 15 months, you might have some nerves, but I had to do it anyways. You know what I was saying? Like fear means nothing when you're mission oriented. And that goes for sports. It goes for your weight. It goes for your job. When you want the end goal, you have to do the work. And so for me, my end goal was survival, was living. And so I had to do the things, the known ingredients to surviving this type of cancer. And so for me, that was being poisoned every 3 weeks. And I wasn't tough. I wasn't tough. I was mission oriented. And so going in for chemo number 1, super scary. Why? Because of the unknown. You have no idea what's going to happen to you. And so you sit down and they start pumping you full of this clear stuff. And they warn you, hey, listen, if your tongue swells, if you feel a stabbing pain, if you start to get hot or cold, say something right away because there could be an allergic reaction that could kill you. That's your welcome to chemo, right? So you sit down and then if you're lucky enough to get through the day without having one of those allergic reactions, you go home and then you wonder, okay, now what? Right? And so for me, it was outrageous, unending sickness. It was never ending sickness. And it happened pretty quickly. I think it was day 2 post chemo where things hit the fan and then they just never stopped. I was violently ill nonstop for a very long time. But I had to show up for round number 2. I didn't feel tough. I woke up taking deep breaths. I got in the car and I cried my way to the hospital. And then, like a big girl, I got out of the car and I walked in and I let them poison me again. And then I did that 20 more times. And I wasn't tough. I was desperate to survive. And so, yeah, I don't know what toughness means. I don't know. I don't think I'm tough. I just shared photos of me kickboxing. And they showed up in my phone. You know how your iPhone says, hey, remember this? And I thought, oh, yeah, my my friends and so forth might get a kick out of that. And so people are like, badass. And of course, it was a fun sport. But that was a mission oriented thing. Being in a ring gave me the opportunity to play. That was a fun carrot dangling versus the carrot that was in one corner, the rotten carrot that said, you'll die if you don't do this. Right. So I don't even think I was tough for having kickbox. I just wanted to have that fun. I wanted to kick someone in the head so badly. And so I don't know if tough even exists. It's mission oriented. Are you a quitter? And I ask you this right now. Are you a quitter? If your life was on the line and they said, here's the very bumpy, painful, uncomfortable road that you have to take to get to cure, would you take it? I think the answer is yes, right? If you would like to run a race or play a pickleball tournament, or I don't know what your goals are you willing to do all the training, to wake up early, to go to sleep early, to watch what you put in your mouth? Are you trying to lose weight? Are you willing to do those things? Is that tough or is that disciplined? I think toughness is our military. I think toughness is our first responders. I don't know if toughness was chemo. I understand the question. I didn't feel very brave. I felt desperate to live. And I don't know. I'm averse to being a victim. I'm very averse to being a victim. I never want any of that attributed to me. I didn't like it. I don't like any of it. I don't like that people looked at me and my bald head and they would cock their head to the side and go, oh, that's not who I want to be. But toughness, maybe toughness doesn't, outside of the brave folks that are wearing uniforms, protecting their communities and their families, Maybe toughness doesn't really exist. Maybe we're all just trying to achieve goals, right? I hope you set big goals for yourself. I hope you never hear the cancer diagnosis. I hope you just have goals that are so great you're willing to do whatever it takes to get those goals in your, achievement bag. And we will be right back.
Are you looking for the perfect gift for a loved one battling cancer? The Cancer Comeback Series by Fitz Koehler offers hope, inspiration, and practical guidance. With Your Healthy Cancer Comeback, My Noisy Cancer Comeback, and The Healthy Cancer Comeback Journal. These books are a lifeline for all patients and survivors. Right now, you can order autographed copies at a special discount. Show your support and help a loved one go from sick to strong. Visit fitzness.com today. That's FITZNESS.com. Fitzness.com.
We're back. All right. Next question from Olivia. She said, if someone, this is another book question. Okay. She said, if someone only read one chapter from Supercharged, which chapter would create the biggest positive ripple effect in their life and why? Oh, it's really hard. I would possibly say the intro chapter because that's where I make the case. If, A, you're here, which is great. That means you care. And then B, this is why this matters. I can never give someone fitness advice without convincing them that fitness matters, right? If I step on a stage to do a keynote, I kind of have to start with, why is this important? Because there's half the room who thinks, oh, fitness girl, who cares? But when they start thinking, yes, better sleep would be nice. More confidence? Yeah. Better job? Yes, I would like that. Better sex life? Sure. Okay, Fitz Koehler, tell me how to get that. So I think possibly chapter 1 makes you want fitness bad. I think when you read chapter 1, it's that type of experience that compels you to want to move forward, to want to read more, to learn how. I could say that the most powerful chapter is strength training, the 4 pillars of fitness. It could be the exact formula for weight loss because, gosh, being of ideal weight is a complete game changer for the quality and length of your life. But I might say, Olivia, that chapter 1 is the most essential because that's where I lay out the case and get you to buy off on the fact that you need this and you have to push forward or else. And the else isn't so good. Great question. Thanks for asking. All right. Caleb says, many people think discipline means never missing workouts. What does healthy discipline actually look like in a real busy life? I think moderation. The biggest problem I see with too many people is they get so excited. I'm going to lose 100 pounds. I'm going to lose 20 pounds. I'm going to do it. And then they hit an obstacle, like their kid got sick or broke their arm and the day passed and instantly they went from, I'm so motivated to nothing. Fitness is not all or nothing. It's accumulation of your good habits over time. It's funny. I remember when I was overweight, I'd be maybe exercising in the pool and moving my body thinking, oh, this right here, I'm going to, get out of the pool and this part's going to be better. No, it doesn't just happen like that. It happens over time. And so if you're only in it for a minute, you'll never see the results you were hoping for. But yeah, it's discipline, accepting mediocrity sometimes, never accepting the fail, never accepting quit, always moving forward. Yeah, that would be it. Discipline is, and it's not just watching what you put in your mouth. Discipline is moving your body often in a variety of ways. Discipline is going to sleep early. I have an executive client, and one of the first things we did, she wants to lose 40 pounds, which is totally doable. She's down 23. She's killing it. The first thing we did is I asked her, go sober, cut out your alcohol immediately, and she did. And then go to bed early. She was up too late. Sleepy people don't make good choices. They don't eat wisely. They don't exercise. They just constantly fail at everything. So I started getting her to go to bed early and she did. And boy, did she feel great right away. Those benefits of sobriety and quality sleep. Holy hell. That alone, incredible. So yeah, discipline should come in a variety of focuses. And it doesn't mean you're perfect. It just means you keep going, right? You keep moving in a positive direction. And that's what we're looking for, is that needle to move further to green, and less on red. All right. Thank you. I love that one. Next question. How do I stay energized when I haven't gotten enough rest? From Kathy from California. how do you stay energized? Well, A, you have to prioritize rest. And let's say you didn't get a good sleep. Be willing to have a nap. There's too many people that think they're too important to have a nap or they're too big or cool for a nap. Screw that. Even a 20-minute nap. It's like charging your phone. You start fading mentally, not only your motivation, but your cognitive abilities, your creative abilities, everything suffers when you're sleepy. And so I think right there, getting a little nap goes a long way. Even if you're just closing your eyes and lying flat for 20 minutes, could be a game changer. But then you could go outside, cold burst of air in your face, splashing ice cold water in your face is a great boost. Of course, caffeine, just use it in moderation. Caffeine is not always a terrible thing. Caffeine can be used strategically to your benefit, but it doesn't include all these monster energy drinks. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying a glass of coffee or a diet soda or something like that, not crack cocaine in a can. No, not that. Also, blasting happy music. Get outside, do something invigorating. What's invigorating in your life? I could get in my Jeep and well, if I'm tired, I probably shouldn't. But if I took my Jeep off-roading for just 10 minutes, whoo, that boosts my adrenaline and that turns me on. And so think of the things that turn you on. It could be jumping jacks. It could be jump rope. It could be sleep. But yeah, things that are exhilarating, cold air, cold water, loud music, little caffeine. Yes, maybe you go have some freaky sex, right? That'll turn you on. Some of you, it makes you want to go sleep. Sometimes I just have to build in the positive outcomes you could gain by getting freaky, right? Because it's not all about running. Running is great and stuff. What is an ideal cheat meal, David from Kentucky? I think cheat meals are stupid. I think cheating is stupid. You're grown-ups. You're not cheating. You're making a decision. I think having a piece of cheesecake or a burger or whatever is fine. Fitz Koehler has French fries sometimes. I love potatoes. I'm a vegetarian, and they're like a real score for me. I just don't do it all the time. And I never think, oh, I'm cheating. Don't let me see my behavior or don't let anybody else see my behavior. Know this. 90% of my decisions when it comes to what I put in my mouth are spectacular. 10%, there's wiggle room. It could be French fries. It could be a beer once in a while. It could be some chocolate-covered Cheetos that someone nice made for me a few months ago. So, yeah, you don't have to be perfect. And just don't be that idiot. I'm having a cheat day or a cheat meal. I think that's moronic and stupid, and you're too good for that. So, have I said enough insulting words? Moronic and stupid and probably dumb. Don't do that. But yeah, just choose. If it fits into your caloric budget and the 80% of your other intake were healthy, then eat something unhealthy. So be it. So be it. Also, I just love it. I love it. The freaks who see me with the Diet Coke and they go, "Fitz, you have Diet Coke. Oh my God." And I think, get a grip. Yes, I've had a Diet Coke. I'll survive, and you also will survive my Diet Coke usage. Got that? All right. Communication tip of the show. When given the chance, whether you're out in public or at home, when Team USA comes on, you start chanting USA loud and proud. That's it. Don't ever be shy to cheer for your team, whether the Philadelphia Eagles and you're going to say go Birds, you're going to do go Gators and chomp, or it's the USA chant because it's so freaking easy. And golly, again, I started the show this way. If you're not proud of being American, you're not paying attention. So USA, USA, do it. Even if you're alone in your car right now, give it to me. Come on, friends. USA, USA. Okay, and the song, since we're upon 4th of July, 250 freaking years of America, of freedom, of independence, of the Marine Corps, of the Army, of so much goodness. George Washington would be delighted if he has seen how far we've come, good times and bad. Like, we are making the big GW so proud. So, song of the show for this week is courtesy of The Red, White, and Blue by Toby Keith, by the late, great Toby Keith. And also, just get on Spotify and type in USA, make your own playlist. America, we got American Girl, born in the USA, all of those things. Just play it and be proud. I shouldn't have to convince you of this, but be proud. Because, yeah, we're fortunate to be a part of something very special. And it's not political, it's patriotic. And I make no apologies for it. You got that? All right. I love you folks so much. Thank you so much for all the questions. Submit them on my Instagram page, on the Hottie Body Fitzness Challenge page on Facebook. Submit them at fitzness.com. Just keep them coming because I love answering them and I love you. And I hope you're committed to doing better and being better because life is short. Make it sweet. Get to work, team. Bye. Mwah!
Hi, this is Rudy Novotny, the voice of America's marathons. We all love how much running has benefited every aspect of our lives, so much so that most of us only wish we'd started sooner. Wouldn't it be wonderful to gift the opportunity to children of today? Well, you can. The Morning Mile is a before-school walking and running program that gives children a chance to start each day in an active way while enjoying fun, music, and friends. That's every child, every day. It's also supported by a wonderful system of rewards, which keeps students highly motivated and frequently congratulated. Created by our favorite fitness expert, Fitz Koehler, Morning Milers across the country have run over 2 million miles and are having greater success with academics, behavior, and sports because of it. The Morning Mile is free to the child, free to the school, and is inexpensively funded by businesses or generous individuals. Help more kids get moving in the morning by visiting morningmile.com. Champion the program at your favorite school or find out more about sponsorship opportunities. That's morningmile.com. Long may you run.